lot of people for the holidays, they like to roast a turkey.
The murky waters of Louisiana's Atchafalaya Basin hide more than just alligators. Behind the cameras of History Channel's hit show Swamp People, an entirely different kind of survival game plays out. What really happens when the cameras stop rolling? What's the truth behind the carefully crafted image of swamp life that millions of viewers have embraced for over a decade? Tonight, we dive beneath the surface as Jacob Landry breaks his silence. The year is 2010. As reality television reaches its golden age, History Channel executives are hunting for their next breakout hit. They find it in the muddy backwaters of Louisiana, where generations of Cajun alligator hunters have been practicing a dangerous centuries-old tradition largely unseen by the outside world. Swamp People premieres on August 22, 2010, introducing America to a cast of weathered, authentic characters who speak in thick Cajun accents and battle nature's apex predators for their livelihood. At the center of this world stands Troy Landry, the king of the swamp, and his family dynasty, including his son Jacob Landry, who would become one of the show's most recognized faces. The premise is deceptively simple. Follow these alligator hunters during the brutally short 30-day hunting season as they race to fill their tags and make their yearly income in a high-stakes, high-risk environment. Each episode follows a similar rhythm. The hunters set their lines at dawn, check them throughout the day, and battle whatever prehistoric beasts have taken their bait. "Shoot 'em" becomes a national catchphrase as Troy Landry dispatches alligator after alligator with his rifle. The show is an immediate sensation. Viewers who had never set foot in a swamp are suddenly experts on the nuances of alligator hunting. They debate hook placements, line strength, and bait selection. They mimic the distinctive Cajun phrases that pepper the hunters' conversations. They feel the pressure of the ticking clock as the season draws to a close, wondering if their favorite teams will fill their tags before time runs out. For the Landry family, everything changes. Troy, already a legend in local circles, becomes a national celebrity. His son Jacob, initially in his father's shadow, gradually emerges as a central character in his own right. Together with Troy's other son Chase, in a rotating cast of family, friends, and rivals, the Landrys become the first family of the swamp, at least as far as television is concerned. By 2015, Swamp People is consistently drawing over 3 million viewers per episode. Merchandise flies off the shelves. Cast members command 5-figure appearance fees at hunting expos and county fairs. The show expands to include more teams, more drama, and more locations, but the Landrys remain at its heart. But television is never just about what appears on screen. Behind every carefully edited 42-minute episode lies a complex web of production schedules, network demands, cast, tensions, and the fundamental challenge of turning real life into compelling entertainment. For the subjects of these shows, the line between their authentic selves and their television personas begins to blur. The question becomes, how much of what we're seeing is real and how much is manufactured for the cameras? For Jacob Landry, navigating this reality would prove more challenging than hunting any alligator. The Swamp People that millions of Americans invited into their living rooms each week presented a particular vision of Louisiana's bayou culture. Producers carefully crafted an image of rugged individualists living off the land, following traditions passed down through generations, largely untouched by modern conveniences and complications. The reality, as is often the case with reality television, was considerably more nuanced. When the cameras showed up that first season, we were just doing what we always did, Jacob Landry reportedly told Outdoor Life magazine in a rare, candid interview. By season 3, we were doing what we always did, but we were doing it in a way that made for good TV. There's a difference. That difference manifested in numerous ways. While the show portrayed the hunters as living in relative isolation, many actually resided in modern homes with all the usual amenities, commuting to the swamp for work, just as others might commute to an office. The production team reportedly asked cast members to wear the same clothes for multiple filming days to maintain continuity. creating the illusion that they lived in perpetual isolation from modern conveniences like washing machines. The 30-day alligator season was real, but the frantic pace depicted on screen was allegedly heightened for dramatic effect. According to production insiders who spoke to Reality Blurred, a single day's hunting might be stretched across multiple episodes with reaction shots and commentary filmed long after the actual events took place. They'd have us talking about an alligator we caught 2 weeks ago like it just happened, one unnamed cast member told the publication. That's just how TV works. The distinctive Cajun vocabulary that became the show's trademark was reportedly another point of contention. While the thick accents and colorful phrases were authentic to the region, production allegedly encouraged cast members to emphasize these elements and repeat catchphrases that resonated with viewers. Chewdom wasn't scripted, but once producers saw how audiences responded to Troy Landry's distinctive call, they reportedly asked him to use it more frequently. For Jacob Landry, the transition from authentic swamp hunter to television personality created particular pressures. As Troy's son, he navigated the dual challenges of living up to his father's reputation both as a hunter and as a character. Court documents from a 2016 contract dispute revealed that by the show's 6th season, cast members were being compensated not just for their participation, but for how well they delivered the character traits that audiences had come to expect. Financial realities created another layer of complexity. While the show portrayed alligator hunting as the cast's primary livelihood, the economics had shifted dramatically. By 2015, many cast members reportedly earned far more from their television appearances and related endorsement deals than from actual hunting. This created what one producer described to Louisiana's The Advocate as a strange situation where they're portraying people who need to hunt to survive, but the hunting has become secondary to being on television about hunting. The strain of maintaining this dual identity, authentic swamp hunter and marketable television personality, reportedly took its toll on several cast members, including Jacob. According to those close to the production, the line between performing for the cameras and living an authentic life became increasingly blurred as the seasons progressed. The masks were firmly in place, but as with all masks worn too long, cracks were beginning to show.
It's something we grew up doing. I mean, I'm careful. It's a big.
Number 5. The manufactured feuds. Jacob Landry and the production team responsible for crafting the narrative arcs that kept viewers coming back season after season. While Swamp People presented itself as a documentary-style look at alligator hunting, the reality of television production demanded conflict and resolution in each episode. According to multiple sources familiar with the production, including former crew members who spoke to Reality TV World in 2018, many of the tensions and rivalries depicted on screen were either greatly exaggerated or entirely manufactured by producers. Jacob Landry reportedly found himself particularly uncomfortable with this aspect of the show. As documented in a 2017 interview with Field and Stream, Jacob explained that the hunting community in southern Louisiana is relatively small and tight-knit. "These are people we've known our whole lives," he said. Then suddenly the show makes it look like we're at each other's throats. One specific incident from the 2016 season allegedly illustrates this dynamic perfectly. Viewers will remember the dramatic standoff between the Landry team and another local hunter over territory rights. What wasn't shown, according to production notes later obtained by The Advocate, was that this territory dispute was filmed weeks after both parties had amicably resolved the issue off camera. Producers reportedly asked them to recreate the conflict and amp up the tension for the benefit of viewers. This approach to storytelling created real-world consequences. Jacob Landry reportedly found himself explaining to friends and neighbors that the heated exchanges viewers saw weren't reflective of their actual relationships. According to local sources, some hunting partnerships were genuinely strained as a result of how they were portrayed on television. For Jacob, navigating these community relationships while fulfilling his contractual obligations to the network created a persistent source of stress that was never acknowledged on screen. What this actually shows is the fundamental tension between authentic documentation and entertaining television, a line that reality TV continues to blur regardless of how real its subjects actually are. Number 4. The editing room magic. Jacob Landry and the post-production team that transformed hundreds of hours of raw footage into tightly packaged episodes. Television is made in the editing room, and reality shows are particularly subject to post-production manipulation. According to industry insiders who spoke with Reality Blurred, Swamp People utilized standard reality TV editing techniques to create narratives that might have little resemblance to what actually occurred. Jacob Landry reportedly became increasingly aware of and concerned about this aspect of the show as seasons progressed. In a candid moment during a 2018 Hunting Expo appearance documented by Louisiana Sportsman magazine, Jacob described watching an episode and barely recognizing the events depicted, despite having lived through them. They took something that happened at 9 a.m., combined it with something from 2 days later, added commentary we recorded a week after that, and made it seem like one continuous event, he explained. One particularly egregious example allegedly occurred during the 2015 season, when editing made it appear that Jacob had made a reckless decision that endangered his crew. According to 3 separate sources present during filming, the incident in question was actually a carefully planned and safely executed hunting strategy. However, through selective editing and out-of-context reaction shots, viewers were presented with a dramatically different version of events that portrayed Jacob in a negative light. For Jacob, this manipulation reportedly created significant personal stress. According to those close to him, he struggled with being portrayed in ways that contradicted his actual behavior and values. The disconnect between how he saw himself and how millions of viewers perceived him based on edited footage became a source of considerable anxiety. Court records from a 2017 contract renegotiation reveal that Jacob and several other cast members unsuccessfully attempted to gain more input into how they were portrayed in final episodes. What this actually shows is how reality television creates its own version of reality, one that prioritizes dramatic storytelling over authentic representation, regardless of the cost to its subjects. Number 3. The conservation complexity. Jacob Landry and the Louisiana Department of Wildlife and Fisheries, the regulatory body that oversees the alligator hunting that forms the backbone of Swamp People. One of the most significant disconnects between the show's portrayal and reality concerns the conservation aspect of alligator hunting. While Swamp People occasionally mentions conservation, it primarily frames hunting as an economic activity and test of skill and courage. The full conservation story is considerably more complex and, according to wildlife officials, more important. Jacob Landry has reportedly been frustrated by this simplification. According to multiple interviews with outdoor publications, including a detailed 2019 conversation with Louisiana Wildlife Federation magazine, Jacob has attempted to highlight how alligator hunting is actually a crucial component of one of America's most successful wildlife conservation programs. The Louisiana alligator was nearly hunted to extinction by the 1960s. After being placed under protection, the population rebounded dramatically, so successfully that controlled hunting became necessary for population management. Today, the program is considered a model of sustainable use conservation with strictly limited seasons, tag allocations based on habitat assessments, and requirements that hunters harvest from across size classes to maintain natural population distributions. Jacob reportedly pushed producers to include more of this context in the show, arguing that it would help viewers understand why the hunt matters beyond entertainment value. According to production sources who spoke with The Advocate, these requests were largely dismissed because executives believed conservation discussions wouldn't drive ratings. This simplified portrayal has created public misconceptions about the role and importance of alligator hunting in Louisiana's ecosystem. For Jacob Landry, who allegedly prides himself on being a conservationist as well as a hunter, this represents a fundamental misrepresentation of his work and values. Wildlife officials have noted that while the show has raised awareness of alligator hunting, it has done little to educate the public about its ecological importance or the strict regulations that govern it. What this actually shows is how entertainment media can simultaneously popularize and misrepresent traditional practices, stripping them of their full ecological and cultural context. Number 2. The financial reality. Jacob Landry and the network executives determined the financial structure of Swamp People as it evolved from a documentary concept to a ratings juggernaut. Perhaps no aspect of Swamp People demonstrates the gap between perception and reality more clearly than the financial arrangements behind the scenes. While the show portrays alligator hunting as the cast's primary livelihood and source of income, the economy reportedly shifted dramatically as the show gained popularity. According to industry reports and court documents from various contractual disputes, by season 4, many cast members were earning far more from their television appearances than from actual hunting. A 2016 report in Variety suggested that leading cast members were commanding between $10,000 to $25,000 per episode, potentially earning more in a single filming day than from an entire alligator season. For Jacob Landry, this created what sources close to him described as an uncomfortable contradiction. The show continued to portray him as a hard-working hunter struggling to make ends meet during a brief annual season, while in reality, his income had become primarily dependent on maintaining his television persona. This shift allegedly created complex pressures. According to production sources who spoke with Reality Blurred, network executives expected cast members to maintain the appearance and lifestyle depicted on screen, even as their actual financial circumstances changed dramatically. They needed to look the part of struggling swamp hunters, one source explained, even as they were cashing checks that transformed their actual lives. This financial reality reportedly created tension between how cast members lived when cameras weren't rolling and how they were portrayed on screen. For Jacob, who according to those close to him values authenticity, this disconnect became increasingly difficult to reconcile. Financial disclosure documents filed during a 2018 lawsuit revealed that merchandise sales and appearance fees had become significant revenue streams for many cast members, further widening the gap between the show's portrayal and their actual livelihoods. What this actually shows is the paradox at the heart of many reality shows. Success fundamentally changes the reality being depicted, creating a cycle where authenticity becomes increasingly difficult to maintain. Number 1. The family legacy burden. Jacob Landry, son of Troy, king of the Swamp Landry, navigating the complex dynamics of family, tradition, and television fame. From the beginning, Swamp People positioned Troy Landry as its breakout star, the undisputed king of the swamp, whose experience, charisma, and distinctive catchphrases made him the show's center of gravity. For Jacob, working alongside his father created a unique set of pressures that intensified as the show's popularity grew. According to those close to the Landry family who spoke with Louisiana's The Advocate, Jacob struggled with being perpetually positioned as the apprentice, even as he developed into an accomplished hunter in his own right. Production notes obtained during legal discovery in a 2019 contract dispute revealed that producers consistently framed Jacob in relation to his father, emphasizing moments of tension or disappointment to create compelling narrative arcs. One particularly telling incident reportedly occurred during the 2017 season. According to multiple sources present during filming, Jacob successfully implemented an innovative hunting strategy that resulted in a record catch for the team. In the aired episode, however, this achievement was primarily attributed to Troy's guidance, with Jacob's contribution minimized to maintain the established dynamic between the characters. The burden extended beyond the show itself. As documented in various media appearances, Jacob found himself constantly compared to his father at public events, with fans expecting him to embody the same characteristics that made Troy popular. People would get upset if I didn't talk exactly like my dad or use his catchphrases, Jacob reportedly told a Louisiana hunting convention in 2018. But I'm my own person with my own way of doing things. This persistent framing reportedly created significant personal and professional challenges for Jacob. According to family friends who spoke with outdoor publications, the pressure to live up to both his father's reputation and audience expectations took an emotional toll that was never acknowledged on screen. The situation allegedly came to a head during contract renegotiations for later seasons, when Jacob pushed for more control over how his storylines were developed and presented. What this actually shows is how reality television's need for clear character dynamics can constrain individuals within narrow roles, particularly in family-based shows where relationships are central to the narrative. The true nature of reality television lies not in what it reveals, but in what it conceals. For Jacob Landry and the other cast members of Swamp People, the most significant challenge wasn't hunting alligators, but navigating the complex reality that exists when cameras transform private lives into public entertainment. The documentary-style presentation of Swamp People creates an illusion of unfiltered access to an authentic way of life. The carefully constructed episodes, with their dramatic music, strategic editing, and narrative arcs, present themselves as windows into reality rather than crafted stories. This illusion is powerful precisely because it's so convincing, viewers believe they're seeing the unvarnished truth. But as Jacob Landry's experience demonstrates, the reality is far more complicated. Behind every minute of aired footage lie hours of unused material. Behind every dramatic moment lies careful production planning. And behind every authentic character lies a real person attempting to reconcile their actual identity with their television persona. What makes this particularly challenging for shows like Swamp People is that they're built around real traditions and practices with genuine cultural and ecological significance. Unlike competition shows that create artificial scenarios, Swamp People takes an authentic cultural practice, alligator hunting in Louisiana's bayous, and transforms it into entertainment. The baseline reality exists independently of the show, creating a complex interplay between documentation and dramatization. For Jacob Landry, this meant constantly navigating the space between three identities: who he actually was, who viewers believed him to be, and who producers needed him to be for the show's success. Court records and interviews suggest that as seasons progressed, these identities became increasingly difficult to reconcile, creating the very real psychological phenomenon known as reality television stress disorder that has been documented in participants across numerous shows. The most profound truth revealed by Jacob Landry's experience is that reality television is never simply about capturing reality. It's about creating a product that serves the needs of networks, advertisers, and audiences. The subjects of these shows become both collaborators and raw material in this process, often with limited understanding of or control over the final result. The tensions between authentic experience and television production didn't remain confined to editing rooms and contract negotiations. As Swamp People continued its successful run, the consequences began to manifest in increasingly public ways. In 2016, History Channel made the surprising decision to drop several longtime cast members, including fan favorites Junior Edwards and his son Willie, along with Liz Cavalier and Jessica Cavalier. While the network cited only creative differences, industry insiders suggested the move reflected both budget considerations and an effort to refocus the show around its most marketable personalities, including the Landry family. This restructuring reportedly created additional pressure for the remaining cast members, including Jacob Landry, who now carried even more responsibility for the show's continued success. According to production sources who spoke with Reality TV World, filming demands intensified as producers worked to maintain ratings with a smaller cast, further straining the balance between authentic hunting and television production. The show's popularity also transformed the Louisiana alligator hunting industry itself. As documented by the Louisiana Department of Wildlife and Fisheries, applications for hunting licenses increased dramatically after the show's debut, with many applicants explicitly citing Swamp People as their introduction to the practice. This influx created new economic opportunities, but also added pressure on a carefully managed resource system. For Jacob Landry personally, the years following these revelations brought significant changes. While continuing to appear on Swamp People, he reportedly began diversifying his public persona beyond the show's narrow framing. In 2019, he launched his own YouTube channel, focused on broader outdoor activities and conservation issues, creating a platform where he had greater control over content and presentation. The Landry family also expanded their business interests, leveraging their television fame into various commercial ventures. Troy Landry's seafood restaurant, Chutes, opened in Pierre Part, Louisiana in 2017, becoming a popular destination for fans of the show. The family also developed merchandise lines and made regular appearances at outdoor expos and conventions across the country. Swamp People itself continued to evolve. Now, in its 13th season as of 2022, the show has shifted its focus somewhat, placing greater emphasis on the conservation aspects of alligator hunting and acknowledging more explicitly the balance between tradition and modern life that hunters navigate. While still primarily entertainment, these changes suggest a gradual movement toward a more nuanced portrayal of the complex reality behind the hunting tradition. For viewers, perhaps the most significant outcome has been a growing awareness of how reality television shapes rather than simply captures reality. As media literacy has increased, audiences have become more sophisticated in their understanding of how these shows are produced and the gap that often exists between presentation and actuality. The story of Jacob Landry and Swamp People offers a revealing window into the fundamental tension at the heart of reality television, the impossible task of authentically representing reality while simultaneously transforming it into marketable entertainment. Like the murky waters of the Atchafalaya Basin, the truth lies somewhere beneath the surface, visible only in glimpses and often obscured by the very process meant to reveal it. What makes this particularly poignant is that unlike purely manufactured reality competitions, shows like Swamp People are built around genuine traditions with real cultural and ecological significance. The alligator hunt matters to Louisiana's ecosystem, to the cultural heritage of Cajun communities, and to the actual livelihoods of families like the Landrys. The television show simultaneously celebrates, distorts, and commercializes this reality, creating something that is neither purely authentic nor entirely fabricated. Perhaps the most important lesson is that reality television, despite its name, is not a mirror, but a lens, one that inevitably shapes what it captures. For viewers, this suggests the need for a more critical and compassionate engagement with these shows, recognizing both their entertainment value and the complex human experiences that lie behind the carefully edited episodes. The swamps of Louisiana will continue to hide their secrets, just as reality television will continue to navigate the murky waters between documentation and entertainment. But now you know a little more about what lies beneath the surface of one of television's most successful reality franchises. What do you think about the relationship between authentic traditions and their television representations? Have you noticed similar patterns in other reality shows you watch? Share your thoughts in the comments below. If you found this deep dive illuminating, hit that subscribe button and turn on notifications so you don't miss our next exploration of the complicated realities behind your favorite shows. Until next time, remember, sometimes the most interesting predators aren't the ones with scales.